Hi everybody, my name is Jason Feeney and I am the new Director of Faith Formation at Christ the King. Previously I was the Youth Minister and Communications Coordinator, but after Margaret Statsny left her position, Father appointed me to take over the K-8 Faith Formation and create a new Faith Formation program suitable for grades pre-K through 12. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things we're going to be doing this year, because a lot of things are going to be different, because some things kind of have to be with the new way our world is right now with safety concerns and things, and some things I think this is a good opportunity to try something that I see being very beneficial to our parish and to you, our families, as well. As you can see in the background here, I have all kinds of books and things around because I've been trying to piece together this project over the last couple of weeks, last month or so, as we've been looking to begin our year here with Faith Formation at Christ the King. And this whole thing originally started out as a way to try to figure out how to do our confirmation programs in light of the coronavirus. Because for those of you that maybe only have kids in pre-K through 8, or only part of our junior high youth ministry, or maybe even only a part of our high school youth ministry, you may not know, we usually average about 100 plus students in our confirmation program each year between the 2 years of preparation. And we usually would meet on site for small group breakout discussion, and with social distancing guidelines, the cost of providing masks for everyone who doesn't have one, and getting some of the equipment, and with just the general physical layout of space and the 6-foot rule, meeting in person just wasn't going to happen. And so we were looking at ways to see what we could do. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to give those of you who are part of our religious education families, those that have children in maybe pre-K, kindergarten, all the way up to 8th grade and aren't part of our youth ministry program, to get to know me a little bit better. So I actually grew up here in this parish. As a kid, I went through RE here after First Communion. Went through RE here from like 3rd grade up until 5th grade, and then went to the middle school here at Christ the King, and then Dowling Catholic High School. After high school, I transitioned into college and went to Central College and then Loras College, where I got my degree in English literature and writing, and studied to be a high school teacher, although I never went through and did the student teaching and the lesson or the licensure for that, because an opportunity came up where I could serve as a focus missionary for the Fellowship of Catholic University students going to college campuses and teaching college students about Jesus. And so I went and did that for a couple of years. When I left, I was a youth minister in Cedar Falls, Iowa. After that, I was a dorm instructor at a boarding school in Northeast Iowa. And when the whole school picked up and moved down to southern Texas, I went down with them, with my wife and children. And we taught down there for about 8 months. And then came back here to Des Moines when we found out we were pregnant with our second child. And landed here at Christ the King on a Sunday, and the rest is sort of history. That's how I got plugged into the parish here and found out about some of the openings, and got in as communications coordinator, and then as an opening came up for youth minister, threw my hat in that ring, and here we are, almost 3 years later now, 2.5-ish years later now, with this Faith Formation program. My story of faith is a long and winding one, going from not really being sort of complacent and such through my childhood years through high school, to really not caring about it much during my first year of college, to having an experience that really showed me God's presence in my life, that really turned everything around in the middle of that freshman year of college, to really sort of buckling down and taking this Catholic thing really seriously, and grew a desire in me to teach this to other people, which is ultimately why I'm here now. And so that's a little bit about me. We'll get into a little bit about our program and some of the changes that we're going to see here this year in just a minute. But I do want to let you all know that I know that change can be hard, and I know many of you whose children are in the public school system are having to sort of figure out what to do with days your kids are home, or now having to homeschool your kids when you previously didn't, and having to figure out all that. I can assure you that we're going to be more than a little flexible with the way this program works to allow you to do this sort of at your own pace, in your own home. So without further ado, let's jump into what faith formation is going to look like this coming year at Christ the King. So, as I said, this is going to kind of be on some of you as parents, with some of the safety concerns and the social distancing guidelines that we've been advised to follow, not only by Father P.J. McManus, our pastor, but by our bishop and several other places and experts. It became kind of apparent that we're not going to be having faith formation in person. Using the school building with all of the sanitization, things that they have to do to maintain standards to reopen, would incur quite a bit of pressure on us as a church organization for just that one day a week faith formation, like for Sunday mornings or even for Wednesday evenings, because it would require a complete sanitization of the entire school building once we left. And relying on volunteers to do that means extra volunteers having to come in, extra pressure on those volunteers that may have only thought they were signing up to teach classes, or on you as parents, or even on the kids themselves. And I really didn't think that was prudent use of our time and resources here, where they could be better spent in making sure that the faith and the catechesis is top notch. So how this is going to work is we're going to be doing kind of family-based in-home catechesis. That means you as parents are taking on a more active role in the formation of your children. This was something that when you, whether you kind of knew it or not, when you baptized your children, you agreed to raise them up in the faith and teach them about the faith at home through daily prayer, through teaching them about different avenues of the faith, different things about Catholicism. That was my desk. And the things that we were doing here at the parish, or at least on a wider scale, on a parish level, are supposed to be sort of supplementary to what's already supposed to be happening at home. For whatever reason, for better or for worse, the script sort of got flipped somewhere along the line. I'm not sure where it happened or why it happened. I'm not here to lay blame on anything or anyone, but the script sort of did get flipped, where the mentality, and even I myself and my family growing up was, you went to RE or you went to Catholic school to learn about the faith, and then sort of the little things you did at home sort of added to that. Well, that's not really the way it's intended. The faith is not just this thing that we do, and maybe we do some things here at home and these people do some things differently, and certainly there are elements to that. Some families are really into the rosary and Marian devotion, and some families might have a devotion to a particular saint or to this particular way of praying with scripture. All of those things are well and good, but the core thing is that families should be where the faith is taught, because it's not supposed to just be a thing that we do. It's supposed to be a part of who we are, and it's supposed to be about ultimately our relationship with Jesus Christ and his church. And if we're not doing that at home with our own families, we're kind of missing the point of all of this. Throughout all of my experience in youth ministry, even that time where I wasn't like actively a youth minister or a faith formation director, when we were down in Texas and Northeast Iowa, I was a sort of a volunteer youth minister at several different churches. Y'all can see that sign over there in the corner. That was from a junior high group that I took on as a junior high youth minister when we were down in Texas, because they didn't have one. Also, you'll hear me say y'all and things like that. When I was a missionary, I was down in the South, and then I lived in Texas for a year, so some of the euphemisms sort of stuck, so I do apologize. But throughout all of that experience, I began to notice that the kids who really took this seriously, who really were excited about learning from their faith from me, already knew a ton of stuff from mom and dad because they were learning it at home. They were practicing it at home. They were praying at home. So when we did things like, here's Lectio Divina, where you read through scripture and you pray through it, and, you look to see what the Lord is teaching you today through this scripture passage, they were excited to take it home to their parents, because then now they could teach mom and dad something, because mom and dad had taught them, their Hail Mary and their Glory Be and their Our Father and their Sign of the Cross. And now they could teach back a little bit and bring something else to the family table of, where they would learn about their faith. And, here at Christ the King, the kids who I see that stick around post-confirmation, that having been my main role, excuse me, over the course of my time here, it's the ones whose mom and dad really make this a point at home. Now, I'm sure there are kids who don't stick around after confirmation whose mom and dad do make it a point. I'm not saying that, your kid didn't come to youth group, so you're not taking the faith seriously at home. No, that's not it. But what I'm saying is, on my limited sample size, that's what I've seen. The kids that do stick around, that I do see post-confirmation, the conjoining thread between those students is an emphasis on the faith at home. And so I think to take the silver lining out of this kind of bad situation we're all in, is to take this and see what we can do to empower you as parents to teach the faith to your children. In doing so, we've created a program that I call Foundations. This is family-based faith formation here at Christ the King. It begins in the home with you all, because Father PJ has, said it enough in a lot of his homilies, and he says it almost on a weekly basis to me here at Christ the King, is, our faith is not meant to stop at the doors of the church when we leave on Sundays, or it's not meant to stop at the doors of the school when your kids go home on Friday, or when they leave Sunday morning Sunday school, or Wednesday night when they walk out of the room that's right in front of me from the youth room and go home, or they walk out of RCIC class or out of confirmation class. Like, it's not meant to stop there. It's meant to continue on at home. And so it's home. This will be family-based, in-home faith formation. What we'll do here, obviously we're not going to be supplying a catechist to come into your home every week. We're going to be supplying you as the parents with faith formation materials to lead your children in growing in the faith. This will look differently for a lot of you, because you might have kids in all sorts of areas. You might have a kindergartner and a fifth grader and a high schooler, or, a kindergartner, a third grader, and a fourth grader, something like that. You might have a kid who's going through First Communion, in second grade. You might have a child going through First Communion in second grade, and then one also in fifth grade because of whatever happened. Or you might have a student who's going through confirmation and also receiving their sacrament of First Communion. We're sort of aware of all the different little areas here, and so we're trying to create a place for you to come and get the information so you can help teach your students. And of course, there'll be some input from me, and some ways that I can guide you and help guide the discussions at home. We'll walk through some of that here very shortly as we walk through our website and our new webpage and the what we call the menu system for faith formation. So let's jump into one of the places where you're going to be able to find all of your information on our faith formation program, which is on the parish website, which you can see right here. Right here we have our website. You'll see our logo, the Foundations Family-Based Faith Formation, and a short couple of paragraphs from me that says, what is family-based faith formation? I'll read this out to you now, but if you want to read the text for yourself, go ahead, go to the website and pull it up. That's christhekingparish.org. And then under the faith formation tab, you'll see a drop down for family-based faith formation. What is family-based faith formation? In light of the COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020, we've had to adapt how faith formation takes place at Christ the King. It's become obvious that the in-classroom faith formation model was not going to be possible for us this year. In light of this, perhaps it's time to rethink how faith formation was done, not just to help us get us through the pandemic, but to help us grow into the future. This is where family-based faith formation comes from. It became quite apparent that if faith formation was going to have to move into individuals' homes, it was going to continue it became quite apparent that if faith formation was going to have to move into individuals' homes, if it was going to continue in any meaningful way. Family-based faith formation empowers parents to make growing in the faith an activity that they also take part in and ownership of, instead of families solely relying on the parish to educate their children in the ways of the faith. Parents will be empowered by the parish to help their children grow in the faith. Families will register for faith formation as per usual. For any of the students in pre-K through 10th grade, this will read 12th grade here very shortly, as we've sort of compiled some more resources for those 11th and 12th graders post-confirmation that wish to continue growing in their faith. So register as per usual and pay the registration fee. They will then receive the books and supplies that they will need to help their students learn about the faith each week. Each week on Sunday mornings, parents will receive a guide or menu along with instructions on how to help their children learn the lessons each week. They'll get discussion questions, a reflection on each section, and any other outside supplemental resources necessary. The menu will have 3 sections. We'll go over these in detail when we look at the menu, so we'll repeat some of this later on. The first section is the main courses section. This is the required section that families need to complete each week. The second section is the side dishes section. This section will have a series of activities that are optional that will cover a variety of topics, and families will have to complete one item in this section minimum each week. The third section is what we call the desserts section. This section will have a couple of fun activities that families can choose from and do, and they'll need to do at least one. They will then compile and complete an artifact that shows they completed the activities, which will be turned in once a month. They will then have a whole week to cover any of the lessons they choose to do and complete the artifacts. So, as you can see, hold on. Camera's bugging out on me. As you can see, there's several different options. We'll jump into what the menus look like, and we'll jump into those little sidebars that you can see. And more of them will be popping up in there throughout the year, and you'll get a little video update from me or a live stream update from me when new things get added to that web page. But we'll be updating it pretty frequently to keep you in the loop as to what things are going on with the Faith Formation program. So let's go ahead and jump into back into that website page so you guys can see what a lot of this looks like. So over here, you'll see this section here, important links for families. Throughout the year, this is going to be your main place you want to go. This section right here. I wonder if I can keep... There's got to be a way to show you the mouse a little bit better. Well, won't let me do it, so I'm not going to mess with it. But right here, you'll see important links for families. You'll see one for Faith Formation registration, for our yearly calendar, for our weekly menus, and this will be updated each week. So if you miss a week and need to make up a week, it'll be right here. You can go back in, see what you need to see. Faith Formation digital lessons. This will be your hub for all of the things that need to take place with some sort of digital component. This will mainly be middle school through high school will be in this section. There will be some things for our First Communion families and First Reconciliation families as well. There's also Faith Formation resources for parents. This section right now is empty. A lot of the sections are empty, but this section here, this Faith Formation resources for parents, will be things that I'll provide out to you. So what I'm going to do each week is each Sunday morning, just about the time you'd be logging in to view Mass, you'll receive a flock note from the parish. So it's important that when you fill out your registration document, you also fill out the flock note section. You'll get a document from me that we call our menu. which we'll look at a little bit more in detail here in a moment. On those menus will be your activities for each week. Then some of them will have a paper component that you'll pick up at the beginning of the year that you'll use throughout the year. If you need a replacement, all you got to do is contact us and we'll get you a new one. Some of them have a workbook that come with them. Some of them have video components, things you can do at home for that faith formation. It'll be listed what you need to do for each grade level in there each week. And you'll have the whole week to do it, Monday through the next Sunday morning, if you would like. And there'll be a due date on this faith formation calendar where once a month you'll need to supply me with the different artifacts that will be listed on the menu that show that you've completed that particular activity. And then under the resources for parents, there'll be things from me. Let's say you've got a junior high student and you're going through the Acts of the Apostles. For whatever the reading is for that week, you'll get a video from me, pretty similar to this, saying, hey, here's something that you may want to keep in mind as you read through this with your student, as you read through this with your child. Here's something from this passage that could be particular poignant to a student in that age group. Hey, families, you've got a First Communion student, the little 6-year-old going through First Communion. Here's my reflection on the First Communion lesson for this week. Some things for you to keep in mind, and some places for you to look to go for further information. There's also going to be links down here in the future as well for things like Catholic articles you guys can look at to delve in deeper, or anything that's going to be in those weekly menus that's not part of the sort of main dish, sort of, core curriculum component. Anything that's out from the outside. So if we have you listen to a podcast or watch a video from Father Mike Schmitz or something, it'll all be in that section. Here for you to find so that you don't have to go 1,000 different places looking for it. We're trying to keep everything centralized for you to make it as easy as possible. Next, we'll jump through the registration process. The calendar doesn't have any dates on it, and then we'll go through a sample menu to sort of show you what that's going to look like. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our registration form here. In lieu of, not handing off a bunch of, paper materials and things like that, we're going to be doing an online registration. The first link you'll see here, Family Faith Formation Flock Note Sign Up, is the parent info. Now, for those of you who may have a teenager and you want the messages to go to their phone as well, meaning you need to put this in for your information first, and it's probably good if both of you have an email and a phone and a cell phone that can receive text messages and things like that to get it sent to both of you, just so we cover all of our bases, especially those of you with teenagers. I'm going to put in my little knowledge from the last 2 years. If you put your children's information in here, please put yours in as well, because we've had a couple of our teenagers sort of take advantage of the situation and only supply their information for the flock note. And mom and dad weren't getting the important communications from me until the last minute because they weren't getting passed along by the student. So please make sure you put your information in here and click this blue Sign Me Up button. This is, if you've already been part of Flocknote, please fill in this information again, as it will put you into our new group as opposed to adding you to the system twice. It's programmed to recognize if you're already in the system, to take that information and put it in the new Faith Formation group under Flocknote. I know we send out a lot of them, especially nowadays, but it is vitally important as we're communicating with all of our families, simultaneously, that you're please sign up for this Flocknote group. It's very important. I'll have some information to fill out for you as the parents, kind of as per usual. Registration form, names, address, phone number, emails. Then for the number of students that you're signing up for, right here, you'll see this number 1. And if you hover over that box, you'll see some arrows at the right-hand side there. You can click up or down. You can't go less than 1, but you can go all the way up to 10 students here. If you need to register more than 10, give us a call and we'll get you registered for 2 more. And then fill out your students' information throughout this process. You've got student email and student cell phone. This is, again, to add them to the flock note thing. It's in anything that says required. If you can't provide that information, just put an NA or not available, or put something in the box so that we can register. But please fill out the information to the best of your ability so that we can make this as easy as possible. You'll need to do this for each student that you're registering, and please let us know which grade level you're registering your student for. We now have an option for pre-K. This is going to be for 4-year-olds all the way up to 12th grade for things to do at home. Please check any of the boxes: First Reconciliation, First Communion, Confirmation Year 1 or Confirmation Year 2 for sacraments that the student needs to register for. If your student is in 10th grade but has not been in confirmation classes before, you need to register them for Confirmation Year 1. If your student is in 12th grade and has not been in confirmation before, select mark it grade 12 and select Year 1 and Year 2, and we'll get you some additional materials to sort of make up some of that ground. Confirmation at Christ the King, as per the bishop's directive, is still a 2-year process, but those students who might be 17 or 18, if they want to begin the process this year and not have to go through RCIA, we will make some special exceptions for them, but that's a very special case-by-case basis. Here, we need you to supply your students' sacramental information. This is their baptismal date and their baptismal place. So city, state, and country for the baptismal place, and the date at which they were baptized. And then what of these other sacraments have they completed? Either First Reconciliation, First Eucharist. You can click both, or you can click the none of the above option there as well. This is really important for our sacramental record keeping, that we have this here. If you don't have this information and your student was baptized here at Christ the King, we will have that on file. If you don't have the date here, put like a question mark and then put Christ the King here in this baptismal place, and we'll go ahead and find that record for you. If you're not sure of the baptismal date, or you can't locate the certificate, but you know the parish that your child was baptized at, you can call that parish at any time and they will provide you with the information that you need. So please go ahead and do that. This next section is solely for our confirmation families. This is to help with the selection of a confirmation sponsor and a confirmation saint. Over the last 2 years, I've had a number of problems with students not turning that information in until like the last possible moment. I know how high schoolers work. I was one myself. I would have been guilty of this myself as well. So please have your student choose their confirmation sponsor. Ask that person and get the okay, I want to be your sponsor before you fill this registration form out. Okay? Because the goal of the confirmation sponsor is they are to walk through the confirmation process with you as the parents and with the student seeking the sacrament of confirmation. It's not supposed to be a last minute thing. It's supposed to go through the entire process. Okay? So their name, their address, contact information, and then there's a section of requirements that the confirmation sponsor needs to fulfill. If you're not registering a student for confirmation, you need to click this first option. If you are, that sponsor needs to be 16 years old, has already received the sacraments of First Communion and confirmation, is a practicing Catholic in standing with the church, receives the sacraments frequently. If they're married, they need to be married in the church, and the sponsor needs to plan to maintain a relationship with the confirmation candidate to help them grow in their faith to the best of their ability. And the sponsor has the above qualification and intention of performing this role. So you've asked them, they said yes. They also cannot be one of the student's parents, either birth parents or a step parent that lives in the home with the child. which is part of canon law, has to be someone outside of the parents. It could be an older sibling, could be an aunt or an uncle. It's most of the time it's a godparent, and that's preferable because they're supposed to have been doing this sort of role since the child was baptized. Please provide your confirmation saint information as well. If you're not choosing a confirmation saint, just put none in both of these boxes. You'll be fine. Tell me who you want to pick, and then tell me in the space below in quick 2 paragraphs why you're choosing that saint and a little bit about them. So I know you've learned a little bit and done a little research with it, and there'll be some things for you to do within confirmation along this line in the future, but it needs to be done before registration so that we have it in a timely fashion. We now have an option where you can pay online for your registration. So if you want to pay with your debit card, your credit card, or with a check online, we have an option for you to do that here. And you can see our cost has gone down. For those of you in K through 8, our cost has gone down significantly. For those of you in confirmation, I do apologize. We've had to incur a little bit of a cost this year because we can no longer share resources like we had been sharing some previously owned workbooks. We would split them between year 1 and year 2 as needed. We can't share the books now through some of the guidelines that the Department of Ed has put down for classrooms. We have to follow some of those as well. So we're going to need each family to provide the cost of their workbooks and textbooks. So if you're registering 1 child, the cost is $50. 2 children, the cost is $75. 3 children, the cost is $100. And if you're registering 4 or more children, it's the cost of $125. I know that this is this in some cases has lessened the cost, in some cases is about as even. But for the materials that we are purchasing, that's about the average cost to send those books home with your students so that you can have the workbooks that you need to help your children grow in the faith. The next section down is not required, but it is for you. If you would like the more in-depth sort of leader guide for the year, you're welcome to purchase one at an additional cost. These are at cost, so this is how much we would pay to order one from the publisher's website. As a church entity, we're going to pass off those savings to you. If you want to buy that leader guide, you do not have to. There is no pressure to. I would say if you're feeling a little shaky on how you're going to do this, I would advise you to purchase one of the leader guides, to purchase the leader guide pack for you for that year for those grades that you would like. You'll get a simple one from me and of course those little video updates. But if you want something more in depth that's going to help you lead, I think, to the best of your ability, go ahead and order one of those, and we will provide it with your packet once the cost has been paid. So that's about it for our registration. We will send a link out to this registration form here very soon and have a registration deadline published. We're going to be starting things off a little bit later this year than we normally would, just due to the fact with some of the staffing changes and some of the safety concerns that we've had. Having to roll out the new program means we're going to have to, stretch our start date out just a little bit in order to make things work as smoothly as possible for you and for all of our families here at Christ the King. So, that's about it for the website. As I said, other things will pop up in there. Feel free to go and peruse that, on a weekly basis, especially if, you want to do some of those extra activities. You're only required to do one out of the extra section, the 2 extra sections. You're only required to do one activity. But if you want to go the extra mile and do all of them, all of the stuff will be there in the section. I'd like to throw out a personal challenge to every family to take one at least once to do all of the categories, all of the things in there on the menu. So let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at what that menu is going to look like. So let's jump in and take a look at what we call the menu here. We'll have it sort of in two different places. So like, as you can see, we've got like the web version up at the top, which will be a little bit closer zoomed. And then we'll have like the static version over here for you to see, but this will be zoomed in a little bit up at the top, so you guys can see that a little bit better. So we've got here Christ the King, family faith formation menu with the date here, so you can see which one you're working on. Entrees, this is like your main course. Families must complete any items in this section for classes they or their children are registered in, and provide the required artifact by the monthly due date. We'll have a date here after the words due date for you to see when like that monthly due date is for this particular menu. Pre-K, you guys will be doing something called Seeds. We'll walk through all of the curriculums, as it were, here after we go through each of the menu items. So pre-K, you guys will be doing Seeds. Pre-K through 6th, your curriculum is coming from the FLOM Gospel Weekly. So what these are little packets that you'll receive that talk about the readings for each week. So the family, you guys as a family can get in touch with the readings for that particular week. And get really involved in the liturgy. I think the liturgy is a big point where we can all come together and learn more about our faith, because it's the great thing that our church has given to us on a weekly basis to get closer to Jesus. So pre-K, you'll have your lessons. Kindergarten and first grade, you guys are going through Promise, which is another section from the Gospel Weeklies. Each one of these kind of builds on level on top of each other, but obviously they're going to be covering the same readings. So it's more or less the activities and some of the discussion points that will change from grade to grade. They'll get a little deeper as you get a little bit older. Second and third grade, you guys are also doing the FLOM Gospel Weeklies. Your section is called Good News. Fourth grade, fifth grade, and sixth grade, you guys are doing what's called Venture. This is the highest level that they offer. They do offer a 7th through 9th grade section, but as 9th grade is part of confirmation. And there were some other Bible studies that I thought were a little bit more good for our 7th and 8th grade classes to use. We're going to be looking a little bit closer into those. So 7th grade, you guys are going to be doing some awesome Bible studies from Ascension Press. If any of you are familiar with Father Mike Schmitz or Jason and Kristalina Everett, or a lot of the big name Catholic speakers that go around the country giving talks, this is sort of a hub where they all get together and provide information. Those of you that might be interested in the Christ Our Life conference in September, a lot of the speakers that are there are also part of this Ascension Presents or Ascension Press series. You guys are doing their teens Bible timeline. So again, focusing on scripture, but this is going to get really deep into the Bible and how chronologically it plays out, and how through time each different book of the Bible is actually building on the relationships present in the one before it. It's really cool, and I think you guys will love it. Then we're going to dive super deep into the Gospel of Matthew, Acts of the Apostles, and the book of Revelation. 8th grade, you guys are going to be doing something called Quick Catholic Lessons from Father Mike. So these are topics of particular interest to you as teenagers that he's done. All the videos are on YouTube, so you can kind of watch them at your own pace. There's some discussion questions for you as a family, and some points of context that will be provided to you as families. You'll also be doing Theology of the Body. So the Catholic Church's teaching on human sexuality and reproduction. And then you'll have some quick videos from me that'll sort of help you get ready for the preparation process for confirmation coming up your next year. For our students and families with First Reconciliation and First Communion, if you've got a student that needs to do First Reconciliation and First Communion at the normal time in 2nd grade, all the way up to potentially, this should say 3rd grade. There's a typo there. We'll fix that on the fly for 3rd grade, and this is for our fourth graders through fifth graders. Little typo there. It must have just been a copy and paste error. But for our first reconciliation and first communion students in second grade and third grade, so maybe you missed a year, we're going to be doing Blessed, which is Dynamic Catholics. If you're familiar with Matthew Kelly, their first reconciliation and first communion program. We're kind of doing away with this 2-year model for first communion and first reconciliation. I've been talking with Father PJ about this. We both agree that in the interest of, as you can see, maybe you can see behind me here, sacramental disposition versus sacramental preparation. To properly dispose someone to wanting to receive the sacraments, less is more in some cases. So we'll be doing this First Communion program here. They have an option for second and third graders. They also have a little bit deeper option for those that need to be a little bit older, which we can provide as well. For our First Reconciliation, First Communion students in 4th through 5th grade, you're also going to get a supplemental lesson from me as well that'll help you go a little bit deeper in your understanding of what it means to receive the great gift of the Eucharist. There will be some blessed lessons that go along with that as well. For any students needing to receive their first communion post 5th grade, so 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, and into the confirmation years, if you're in middle school, please indicate that on your form. I need to take a sip of coffee real quick. Sorry about that. I was just starting to lose my voice in the middle of that. I've been talking for a little while and voice was dying on me. If you're in middle school, please indicate that you still need to receive your first communion on your registration form with some of those prompts. And I'll reach out to those families individually to provide some resources for their receiving the sacrament of First Holy Communion. For those in high school, if you're doing the confirmation program, you will be prepared to receive your First Holy Communion as well, as that's actually part of what's built into the confirmation program is a deep understanding of the Eucharist. So we're all fine there. It's just, if you're in 6th through 8th grade, we'll need to provide something for you as well. So indicate that on your form, and we will get some materials out to you to help you with that. For confirmation programs, for confirmation year 1, you guys are solely working out of Chosen, your journey towards confirmation. You'll be doing the first several lessons in that program. This is again from Ascension Presents. This is the confirmation program we've been using for the last 2 years. I absolutely love it. I love the speakers that are present in with it. I love the way discussion is based around it. I love that each week you get to take another deep dive into a particular saint, and there's some personal stories that go along with each lesson. So please do take advantage of this program. Use it to your benefit to help prepare your teen for confirmation. For year 2, you guys are also doing the last couple of lessons out of Chosen, but you're also going to be taking a break in the middle of those lessons to look at what is called the U program, which is the Theology of the Body lessons specifically designed for high school students. This is the Catholic Church's teaching on human sexuality, sexual relationships, marriage, etc. So please, you as a family, go deep into these lessons, talk about these things as a family. I know these can be tricky subjects to sort of navigate, especially with a teenager. But I think it's something that we all owe our families and our teens. We all owe them to really teach what the Catholic Church teaches on these particular difficult subjects. So jumping into the sides, we have some examples of things you can do here. So you must complete one of the 3 activities here today for each of the weekly menus. There's Pray a Rosary as a Family. There'll be a prayer section. So this example is Pray a Rosary as a Family. There might be Lectio Divina, some image prayer where we provide you with like an artwork and you pray over the artwork as a family, or some Ignatian meditation prayer where you look over you pray through the scripture in a very meditative, imaginative way where you place yourself into the scriptures in your imagination, and you kind of imagine what it would be like to be there when Jesus is saying these things in the gospel, or where the Old Testament story is taking place, as a way to sort of flesh it out in your daily life. They might be simple as praying a rosary together as a family, or offering petitionary prayer for those in your life. And as you can see, there's an example of an artifact that's there for you. Take a picture as a family holding your rosaries when you're finished. There'll always be a saint section where you can read about the life of a saint together as a family and have each person write a small 1-paragraph summary of that saint's life. Grades pre-K through 12, you guys can draw a picture. I'll take it and hang it up on some of these barren walls here in my office so that I can see the fantastic artwork that you guys draw. Taking a look at today's readings, this will be a section that is always present on there as well, to take a look at today's daily readings. So not just the Sunday readings, but the church has provided us with readings of the Old Testament and the New Testament and the Gospels together for each day to help guide us in our faith. So read today's daily readings together as a family and record a short video of what you all thought. And those reflection videos, provided we have your permission to do so, will also be present on the website for other families to take a look at, or maybe for you to take a look at down the line. Maybe your impressions of that particular passage have changed. The dessert section. So this is a family fun time for you guys to get together, spend some time together as a family. I know with everything sort of shutting down and some things may be coming back, but not in the way we had done before, we've all got more time with our families now than we used to, at least to an extent. So complete one of the following activities as a family unit and complete the required artifact by the monthly due date. We've got 2 examples here. So watch a movie as a family. Watch a new movie as a family that no one in the family has seen. Artifact, write a 2-paragraph review of what you liked and disliked. Family game night, play a game together as a family. Artifact, take a photo of you all playing the game together and send it in. So it's not just learning about the faith, but it's about being in a community together as a family. Growing together as a family in faith. Notice the movie doesn't say it has to be, like a Jesus-centric movie, although that would be a huge plus. There might be things down here in the desserts tabs of, family story time, reading a book together, family art project, family arts and crafts, family exercise activity, things like that. You just pick one. You have a whole week to do it and to turn in that artifact. All right, so let's go ahead and take a little bit of a deep dive into each of the curriculum areas that you guys will be looking at as a family. All right, so we're going to take a look at all of the different areas where we're going to dive deep into learning the faith together as a family at home. So, starting here with the Gospel Weekly's FLOM Faith Formation program. This is for grades pre-K through 6. Taking a look at all of these, each one of the lessons comes with a unit overview. So the editors of the Gospel Weeklies put together an overview for you as parents or for Faith Formation leaders to help them prepare and present the lessons. You can order a teaching guide from us. All of the lessons, all of the materials are provided in both English and in Spanish. So it should be easy for any of us to use. They provide weekly videos that you can use as you discuss the Sunday's gospel. Preview the video that you think is appropriate for the age group that you're watching, that will be watching it. The gospel at home, so designed for those of you that might be a little bit busier or have multiple kids in this program. There's a short description of the Sunday gospel, plus suggested activities and discussion starters for each age level. These activities will help them go a little bit deeper into the Sunday gospels. There'll be lesson updates, so you'll get a packet. Here you'll see the venture, good news, promise, seeds, visions. You'll get them each week, these little packets for your students. There's also things like little quizzes and things you guys can take to make sure you're learning the information as you go along. They come with seasonal activities, the best way to align the catechetical lessons for the liturgical year. So there'll be a section with Lent, Christmas, Easter for you guys to go through at home as we go through the different seasons in the church. We won't need to worry about these here. There's extension, so if you want to go a little bit deeper, there'll be some extra activities you can do. Some of these may be your artifacts for the week, is to do some of these extra activities together as a family. There's also, it doesn't look like it's on here, but they also provide a thing called What the Catholic Church Actually Teaches, and it's an in-home catechism guide that is geared towards these young listeners and these young learners, so they can learn the actual things that the church teaches. You'll also get a saints and feast days calendar that they provide. That will show you, what particular saint is for that day. So if you want to learn about that particular saint as your weekly activity, or one of the saints from your week as that weekly side dish sort of activity, you can go in and, let's say for tomorrow, at the time of recording this, St. John Vianney. Click on his name in the calendar, and it takes you right to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops website. You can see the readings for that particular day, and it will hopefully give you a little bit of context as to who he is. It doesn't look like it does, but I thought it did. Well, you can look up that particular saint for you as well. So this is for our preschool through 6th grade students, and obviously it gets a little bit deeper as we go along. For those higher level students, there's more emphasis on some of that What the Catholic Church Teaches, that catechism guide, that will be really important. There'll be sections in each lesson for you to use that. What they do for some of the younger levels is they break down the story of the gospel, where first you read this story in the book that is sort of aligned with some of the same themes that the gospel has. So if the gospel for that weekend is Jesus telling the story of the Good Samaritan, there might be a story of, two young friends helping out another in their time of need. And then there'll be sort of a kidified version of the gospel that you'll then read, so that you can draw parallels between the two of them. And each section will come with discussion questions for each of those passages. There'll be activities, for some of our younger readers, there will be some coloring activities or some, match the dots and things like that. And you'll see that, and some of those things will be your artifacts for those particular weeks. Jumping ahead for our middle school students, you guys will be doing all of the things out of this middle column here on Ascension Presents' Teen Faith Formation column. You'll be starting with Encounter, the middle school Bible study. What this is it's a brief overview of their Bible timeline learning system, which you'll then go deeper into with the T3 Teen timeline, which is like a really deep dive into the books of the Bible and how they all fit together chronologically and build off of one another, telling one story of our salvation history. You'll then go a little bit deeper into each of the books of Matthew, Acts of the Apostles, and Revelations. So you go through that as a family. For those of you in 8th grade, you guys are also going to be jumping into Theology of the Body for teens, the middle school Theology of the Body resource here. For this particular one, teens will get a workbook, and you guys will also get a parent's guide, I believe, that comes with this, so that you can discuss things together as a family. For those of you in confirmation, we're going to take a look, and 8th graders, you guys will have quick Catholic lessons with Father Mike, along with that Theology of the Body lesson. Here's a quick overview of that. Some of the topics you'll be looking at: motivation to go to Mass. Why do we have to go to Mass on Sundays? Learning how to love other people through the Bible. What is hope, and why do I need it? Some heavier topics: what is the meaning of suffering? How to quit pornography, how to avoid impurity, how to talk to other people about suicide. The battle of prayer, this huge section on prayer, is one of my favorites in here. So it's a lot of hard-hitting, quick lessons that Father Mike provides for you. We'll go through them together. For those of you in confirmation, let's take a look at our confirmation preparation, Chosen, Your Journey Toward Confirmation. So there's an extended trailer here that you can view on their website. I'm not going to play it here for copyright reasons, but please go check it out. This one's probably our longest time commitment wise, but I think it's very important. There's roughly 15 to 20 minutes of videos for each week. There's class length options that you can choose from for just an hour total to an hour and a half to 2 hours, whatever you wish to sort of do. With this, you'll be getting this here, this student pack. You'll be getting the workbook, a parent book, and a sponsor's guide. You can order them in English or in Spanish. There'll be an option on that registration form that I'm going to add when we finish up with this here today, whether or not you need your materials in English or in Spanish. And we'll provide them for you in that chosen language. We'll put a notes section down there as well if you need to split them up. Like if your student needs the workbook in English, but then you want the parent's guide in Spanish, and they want the sponsor's guide in English, we can do that too. There'll be a place for you to indicate that down there as well. That covers our confirmation program. There's a number of different speakers that present on topics from what is confirmation, what does the Holy Spirit do in my life, a deep dive discussion into each of the 7 sacraments, the church's stance on morality and Catholic teaching, how to pray, what is Mary's role in the church, what's the importance of the Eucharist. All of these things will help prepare your children to be ready to want to receive the gift that is confirmation. For our First Communion and First Reconciliation families, we have the program Blessed from Dynamic Catholic. It's got these really kind of cute animated short films. They're broken down into 7 pieces. So if you don't want to do them all like in one hit, but you want to take time to do part of one lesson each night of the week, if you so choose, you can kind of spread them out throughout the week. I'm sure you can do that with any of these other lessons, but this one specifically is designed to do that. And of course it comes in both English and in Spanish. Pardon me, I'm just kind of losing my voice as we go through this. And so we can break that down for confirmation lessons. For these other lessons here, it's important to note that we're not trying to pigeonhole you to only do this one night of the week or on one day. We need to sort of get away from that model of, Wednesday nights, that's when the Jesus school happens, and Sunday mornings, that's Sunday school, and then we go to church on Sundays, and that's like the only time we discuss about our faith and learn about our faith. That's just not the way it works in real life. We learn about our faith. Our kids learn about our faith from us every single day, whether we know it or not, or whether we want them to learn what we're teaching that day or not. They're learning. My 2 little ones, I've got an 18-month-old that's going to be 2 here before I know it. She's not even 18 months old. She's going to be 2 in September. And I've got a 3-year-old that's going to be 4 in December. They learn from my wife and I how important our faith is, because they see Dad go off to work at the church, or they see Mom leave to go play piano at Mass right now, or they would come with us when it was time to do that, or they know Dad leaves Wednesday nights to teach about Jesus to other people. They see us say our grace before meals. We pray with our little ones at night before they go to bed every night. They learn that stuff is important because we're doing it with them. We're not We never sat down and said, all right, we're going to do the sign of the cross. So take your hand and put it here, and then put it here, and go over to your shoulders and make sure you go this way. They learned it because we just did it with them. Our 3-year-old will recite the grace before meals prayer. And the other night, my dad and I were doing some work on the house, and we came in, and my wife and my mom had dinner on the table for us, and the kids were all up in their chairs and ready to eat and excited. And my dad and I were hungry from being outside all day. And so we sat down and started eating because we were hungry, and we had completely forgotten to say grace. Just one of those moments where you slip up. Everybody has it. You forget to say grace before a meal or something, even more important than that. And everybody started eating, and a couple of minutes in, the 3-year-old put her fork down and said, wait, everybody, we didn't pray. So she knew it was important that we said our grace before meals, not because we sat down and told her and broke down the meaning of the prayer and told her what it all means, but she knew it was important because it was something we had always done that we had then forgotten to do. It was just something we did as a family. And I think if we as families come together and we make this faith formation thing something that we do all week long, each night, if you've got kids in different grade levels, take a night. That's the night everybody gets together and does the first grade lesson. So your teenager can put their input in on what the first grader's learning. The third grader can talk about what they're learning at the same time. Your first communion lesson, everybody participates in it. The littles participate in some of the confirmation discussion, or at least watch the videos together, so that whatever screen time you're having that day, all of a sudden it's transformed into some faith learning. We're not doing any of our faith formation activities on Tuesday this week. Okay, well, let's do our rosary together as a family. Or, oh, we're not doing anything this night. Let's take a minute to do one of those other optional activities. Or, man, I really liked learning about that saint the other night. Let's take another night and look at it. And it just slowly becomes this thing that we do all the time. And I think it can really help us transform our families into areas of learning about the faith where the faith becomes as important as everything else we do in our lives. I want you all to know that I'm here for you as a resource to help you teach these things to your kids. I don't get this this concept. Can we talk about it for a little bit? And of course, we'll sit down, we'll chat, about it. I'm here Monday through Friday for you as parents. I know some of you may not be comfortable with this idea. I know some of you are this change is gonna be a little bit drastic, a little bit different, but I think it's important because this is the most important thing we'll ever do with our kids. If it's not the most important thing that we're doing, then we ought not to be doing it. If it's not important enough to make it a priority for us and our families amidst all of the other things that we've got going on, then it's not going to be important for them when someone else is teaching them it as well. Do you see what I'm getting at here? If it's not important enough for you all to do it as a family, your children are going to see that it's not important. Even when me or some other volunteer is the one teaching them, because it's not coming from you. It's not coming together as a family and doing it. We learn what's important by what we do as a family. And if we can learn that our faith is important, we'll carry it with us through our whole lives. This might create a lot of new things that have never happened before in your family. Don't worry about any of that. Don't worry about, well, we've never said our prayers before meals or prayed together as a family before. And, this is going to be strange that this is a whole new thing. Yeah, it's going to be strange. It's going to be new. It's going to feel forced. And that's okay. It's going to feel that way. And it's kind of supposed to, because it's just like doing any new activity. It's not going to feel natural at the beginning. The goal is to get it to become natural, not for it to be natural right away. In an effort to help all of us grow in the new way of doing this program, we've put together a committee that will meet frequently to discuss how better we can help equip you as families. More information will be coming out on that shortly after we have our first meeting, and about everybody's comfort levels with how people contact them and such. But they hopefully will be available as a resource for you to reach out to talk to them about, well, how do I talk about this topic with my kids? How do we make this more natural? That'll be coming out shortly to all of you. So I hope I've hit everything. If there are any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is listed on the parish website. My office number is listed on there as well. And through the week, Monday through Friday, it forwards to my cell phone when I'm in the office, so that if I'm ever not sitting at my desk, if I'm running an errand or off somewhere else, that I can get that call from you right away. Don't hesitate to give me a call or shoot me an email. I think this video has gone on long enough, and I want to be conscious of your guys' time as well. So if we've missed anything, point it out. Any questions you may have, either leave it in the comments below this video or shoot me an email or something along those lines, and we'll get that answered for you. Please know of my continued prayers for all of you and all of your kids as we go through this process together, hand in hand. This isn't just new for you, it's new for me, it's new for everybody. I can't wait. I'm excited for this to be the new thing that we do. I'm excited to meet many of you, whether that be face-to-face or through the camera or through a live stream or something. But we'll talk very soon. Oh, that's the last piece. Weekly, we'll be having either videos that go out for one or more of the grade levels, or a live stream that is dedicated for a particular grade level section or a particular sacrament section. Each week, we'll have something for one of the levels where I'll be live to answer any questions that you as parents might have, or that your kiddos might have, either on areas of the topic, or if we want to just have an open discussion about something that we've learned. We'll have an opportunity to do that weekly or monthly as we go along. So there'll be some constant interaction with me as well. So I think now we've answered and talked about every facet of the program. Be looking for our calendar and for that registration link here in the coming weeks. Thank you all very much. Know of all of our prayers for all of you, from all of us here at Christ the King. God bless.